Welcome back to another tutorial. Today we're going to be doing lab 6-1, evaluating the master data for interesting addresses. So to start off, just make sure that you're logged into your OneDrive account. If you're logging in from Outlook, you can press on the top left button and select OneDrive, and you'll be able to see all your documents there. We're going to work off of a couple of the labs that we've already previously done. In this case, we're going to use the DA audit working papers. Select that. Once you're in, you're going to use the current audit file. Select that. So once you're in, we're going to create a new Excel workbook. To do so, we're going to click New and Excel workbook, which is different from the forms. Okay, I'm going to go back actually and rename the workbook and call it User Supply Match. So rename User Supply, oops. Sorry about that. We're actually going to call it User Supplier Match as such, and then hit rename. And then you'll see that the name has changed, and it will actually move it to the bottom since it's listed in alphabetical order. So once you're, I'm going to close this out and make sure it's the correct one. That way I can see my name there. So I'm going to rename the sheet. This is step 3, rename sheet 1 to users. Okay. And add a new sheet called suppliers. So we're going to add a new sheet and rename this to suppliers, like such. Okay, so now that you've added your 2 new worksheets, we're going to actually return to the OneDrive. And you want to open some previously added workbooks. These are the user listing and the supplier listing. So I'm going to go ahead and open these separately. User listing, once again, I'll go back to OneDrive and open my supplier listing. So moving on to step 5, it says copy the data from the user listing file to the user sheet in your new spreadsheet. So I will be copying my information and I'll be back shortly. Okay, so I just wanted to show this step as I work through it. So I'll show how I add my copy my user listing information from the user listing workbook to the user supply match workbook, which is the one we're creating in this video. So I'm going to select A1, Control Shift, hit the down button, hit the the right button, and then I'm going to do Control C. Move over to my new workbook. Make sure that since I'm taking it from the user workbook, I want to put it in the user worksheet. And then Control V as such. And we can resize those later. I'm going to do the same thing for the supplier listing. Control Shift, down arrow, right arrow, Control C, on the A1, Control V, like such. Okay, now I'm going to resize. So double click and shift. So that only did the last column, so I've gone ahead and highlighted it all again. Once again, double clicking and hitting shift. That's okay, I can just go ahead and resize all of my columns. I'll do that and be right back. All right, so once you have your information, now we're going to on step 7, it says from user match spreadsheet, click open in desktop app. So which is located right here, click on it, open Excel. And it looks like it's going to ask me for my login information. So I'll pause it while I put that in. Okay, and then once you open it in your desktop app, you should be able to view it as in the Excel app, sorry, if you have the credentials. Unfortunately, since I'm using a VMware, I was not able to access the desktop. So for now, I'll just continue to use it from my OneDrive. Okay, so now we're going to move on to in IDEA, the section of part 2. So step 1, you're going to download the P2P IDEA audit data from your classroom provided files. So mine is going to be here under lab 6-1, and if you'll notice, it's a zip file. So as the next step says, we're just going to unzip this file. Extract all. And just wait for it to unzip. And then as step 3 says, open IDEA and go to home. 1 second. So actually, when it says the home button, it means the start button. So we'll go to the start button and look for the application that starts with an I for IDEA. So I'm going to go to IDEA and then start up IDEA. Oh, it's already running. Okay. Give it a minute. Oh, there it is. Okay. And sorry, it was behind my files tab. So I'm going to click no here. I'm going to view this later, procrastination. And so now you are in IDEA. And once you're in IDEA, okay, so you're going to select the select button and then go to external projects, browse. So I'm actually going to go to my desktop and I think I put it in documents. I'm looking for this IDEA audit data document. So once I found it, I'm going to go ahead and select it, press OK. Press OK again. And then you'll see how your documents appear here, and then you select the plus sign so that you can open up and see what all is encapsulated in there. So now we're going to move on to part 3, perform the analysis. Okay, and so we're going to begin by going back to our Excel sheet. So I'm going to minimize the IDEA, and we won't need this for now, so I'm going to close that out. And here is my workbook that we were working on, the user supply match workbook. So we're going to start off by formatting our worksheets as tables. So Control Shift, I like to do down and then right over. It doesn't really matter if you like to do right and then down. And then go home and okay, so I can't find it because I'm actually in the OneDrive account. So we're going to move into the Excel application and create them as tables here. So I'm going to start off by doing the users one, A1, shift down, shift over, and then format as table. You can pick your color to your choosing. I'm going to do green, go UNT, right? And my table does have headers. And so we're going to do the same thing for suppliers. Once again, start. Okay, and then start from A1. Once again, shift down. Control shift down. It's okay. If it doesn't work, you can just select all your data. Isn't the most convenient thing to do, but it is also an option. So I'm just gonna, 1 second while I select my data. Okay, so we're gonna try that one more time. Control shift down, over. and format as table. Once again, go UNT, go mean green, and select green. And it does have tables. So now both of our worksheets are formatted as tables, like such. So moving on to step B, click the drop-down arrow next to the supply physical sheet address 1. So you'll find the physical address, column L, right here. And you will show the sort and filter menu right here. Okay, so actually we're going to do the text filters, contains, and you're going to type in the word box because you're looking for any address that is using a PO box. Usually that's suspicious because you have, usually it's, since it's not an address, somebody with the key goes and picks it up, but most times you don't know who has the key. So in this case, we're going to keep an eye out for any physical address that contains box for PO box. Okay, and for this part, continuing from our last video, we're going to go back into the idea. We're going to find the supplier listing, double click that, allow it to load. And then you're going to find, go to data. Data. 1 second, please. All right, so we're actually going to look at the data tab. So data, and then search. Search. And then text to find, we're actually going to type in the word box, kind of similar to what we did earlier in Excel. Okay, and then you're going to, in the fields to look, we're actually going to expand this a little just to kind of give you a better view here. I'm going to expand this as well. And we're looking for supplier physical street address 1. So here it is. Select and then click OK. You'll see here that your table will show up, and here where the word box appears, so it has selected this address. There are 3 actually, 1, 2, and 3, similarly to what we saw in the Excel file earlier.
Okay, I'm going to start on lab 6-1, evaluate the master data for interesting addresses. The first step I'm going to do is go to my OneDrive in the VMware. I'm going to go navigate to here, my files, and then I will use the papers that I worked with last week. I'm going to double click here. Perfect. Then I'm going to go to current audit file, and I'm going to create a new Excel workbook and call it user supplier. So I'm going to go new Excel. I'm going to call it user dash supplier. Sorry about that. Match. I'm going to create, and I'm going to rename the sheet 1 to users after that is created. So let's just go ahead and get into here. All right, 1 second. Be right back.